You're looking live on a Saturday night at the Lions Den in beautiful Jacksonville for tonight's SFL matchup between the undefeated Florida Storm and the Jacksonville Kings. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I am Cameron Duty, and I am reunited with my partner, Alex West. Alex, we've got two teams who are very familiar with each other in this long-standing rivalry. 18 previous matchups between the two. Florida is also already locked into the postseason, as well as they hold a commanding lead on the matchups. 14 wins out of 18. For Jacksonville, a loss, and they're out of playoff contention. What or who do you have your eyes on in this matchup?
Well, truly, it's all eyes on Jacksonville tonight because they have got to show up to defend home turf in a way like you've never seen. It is truly a fight for survival. Kicking, scratching, clawing, every little bit of yardage is going to matter. But truly, I don't hold out much hope. There's a reason this team is 2-7, and Florida has dominated the last 10 matchups in a row. The Storm seem to have Jacksonville's kryptonite, but who knows? Let's see some magic tonight and say no one gets me 11 times in a row.
Hey, it's still March. We'll call it March Madness. Anything can happen. Sit tight. You're not going to want to go anywhere for the next hour and a half or so. Kickoff is underway. Let's get this thing started. And a touchback will bring it out to the 20-yard line. Let's take a look. In just a moment, we'll say hello to this Florida offense. We'll start with Ron Cochran, of course, who has had a good season up to this point. We know the rushing attack and how important it is, but Ron with good stats coming in, 163 completions to 272 attempts, 15 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions. They keep it on the ground the very first play. And it goes to Bullet Beletsky, and he gets stopped at the line. This offense, let's introduce you to them. Charlie Bullet Beletsky at halfback, Chris Komisak fullback, wide receiver Stephen Bush, Caleb Giffus, Art Vandelay, Bobby Tarantino. That's your wide receiving core. Tight ends Ron Haynes and Nate LeMay. The tackle, William Davidson, and the two guards, Joseph Wade and Greg McDonaldson. They keep it on the ground to Beletsky with a nice spin move. 3rd and 4 coming up here, Alex.
And this is one of those moments where they could call Ron Cochran's number, trust him to make one of those short to medium range passes, but I don't think they go to Charlie Bullet Beletsky here. I don't think Bullet's getting the ball if they run it. I think they're actually going to go to the fullback, Chris Komisak, who's seen 112 carries so far this season.
And 8 touchdowns. Beletsky may have him in yards, but he's got him in touchdowns. They like to use him in short yardage and around the goal line. And you could see him here, just as you mentioned. Man in motion, 3rd and 4 coming up. And they're going to stay to the air game here. They throw the pass complete down the sidelines here to the 20, to the 15, to the 10. Stepping out of bounds is Art Vandelay after a huge game, looking to bust it wide open early on.
And that coulda, shoulda, almost was a touchdown, if not for just a little bit of misstepping on the line. Gotta have your awareness whenever you're running to pay dirt. But oh my goodness, they choose 3rd and 4 of all times to say, you know what, we're taking a shot deep. Ron Cochran's gonna let that play develop, stay calm in the pocket, and air one out. That's an absolute missile, 70 yards.
70 yards, and just like that, strong out of the gate come the Florida Storm. 1st and goal inside the 5. They stay with the air game, and it is off the mark of the intended target. Let's take a look at this Jacksonville defense real quick. The defensive ends, Taquan Hill and P. Fudor. Logan Gardner, defensive tackle. The linebackers, John Martin, Dallas Knowles, John Patrick Levine, and Tiga K. The cornerbacks, K. Magic, Havro Ramsey, Bernard Gooden, Roy Towers, and the safeties, Young Vaught, Justin Andaluz, Alex Bond, and Dylan Bamsler, the rookie. Rounding out the defensive lineup, they stay on the ground with the fullback. I do believe seeing it for the first time today, that was Chris Komisak. He gets nothing. 3rd down, and a big 3rd down at that.
But at this point, it feels like they're playing with house money. I mean, Art Vandelay just got his career-long catch right there to set them up with easy points here. All they have to do is not give the ball over.
On the ground, Komisak looking for touchdown number 9 on the season, and he's got it. Touchdown Storm. They strike first and in a hurry.
And Chris Komisach here is showing exactly kind of the ethos that Florida is taking with their offensive game plan with the rushing attack. You have a dynamic halfback in Bolesky who is going to get you steady yardage, who's going to be able to run off the tackles, who's going to be able to open up the passing attack with reliable rushing attacks. But then the fullback's going to come in here. Chris Komisach is a big bruising runner.
Ethan Snead now on to attempt the extra point. The kick is up and away, and it is good. So 6 plays. It actually was 6 plays, 80 yards, but only a minute and 54 seconds for Florida to get on the board. Now, as we turn our attention to this Jacksonville offense, they start behind the 8 ball, if you will, down by 7, and we will see how they respond for the very first time in this game. The kickoff is teed up, and we'll see if we get a return here. And we will. Ellington brings this one out, crosses the 25 to the 30, and that's where they'll set up shop. Let's say hello to the Jacksonville offense quickly. Quarterback O.J. Bruin, halfbacks Sean Sanders, Shepard Vakarian, the wide receivers King Alexander and Joe Beasley, Kingston Ellington and Connor Weston, the tight ends Jim Copeland Jr. and Dot Williams, the tackles Bryce Randall, Brennan Ryan, and the guard Marcella Martin, and the center Carly Forge, excuse me. 1st and 10 now on the 30-yard line as Bruin to throw, almost intercepted, and that is dangerous. And Alex, that is an issue that we have seen all season with O.J. Bruin. 4 touchdowns to 15 interceptions.
And he's been having a tough time making reads, and it's hard to say whether that's just on OJ or whether it's also a question of the offensive line also not giving him a whole lot of time to really work with. It's maybe a little bit of chicken and egg, right? A little bit of column A, a little column B.
Bruin now again to throw, a second now, pressure coming, and he gets absolutely obliterated. He pump faked, and before you know it, big number 93 is in, Pete Mitchell for the sack.
And that is his 5th on the season, and he is a force to be reckoned with on the inside, the big defensive tackle, wrecking shop, setting up a 3rd and forever, it feels like.
That brings him within 1 of the team high in sacks coming into today's game. Alex Dominguez with 6. So Mitchell, you know they're going to be a little friendly competition there, wanting to see who gets the sack record at the end of the season. Adam Jones also has 3 on the season. So 3rd down, almost got to him again. That pass in and out of the hands of the intended target. He did have a man in the vicinity. It was Joe Beasley, but nevertheless, it is 4th down.
And even if Joe Beasley makes that catch, right, he still looked a few yards short of the line to gain, and he had blue jerseys draped all over him. This is one of those where Florida looks like they have everything figured out, and Jacksonville is just reeling to start things off.
Liam Price to punt. And a nice return coming right here by Vandelay. Gets out to the 43-yard line, and that is where they will set up shop. Let's take a look at a couple of stats that we've jotted down talking about this matchup. Florida has not went undefeated in their season since season 11 when they were the Alaska Storm. They went on to win the championship that year. You know that obviously the end goal, another championship. You know they also want to finish the season undefeated. That could happen. This game a stepping stone to that. In their way, of course, as we mentioned, Jacksonville, who has not won since week 3 of this season when they defeated Indianapolis 27-17, and they started the season 2-1. Now on 1st down and 10, that is Vandelay who goes in motion. Play clock winding down, and you can see that Cochran just wanting to take his time. He gives it to Beletsky, who gets 4, 2nd down.
Not a whole lot from that run, but just feels like they're keeping the defense honest, because when you hit an easy home run ball like that early, they already feel like they're up. They are up, but they feel like they are playing with house money at this point.
On the ground once more. That's Komisach breaking through some tackles. He gets a good handful of yards to set up a pretty manageable 3rd down here. So a big stop needed for Jacksonville early in this game.
2 productive plays in a row. It looks like an easy third down conversion coming up. Time for some hero moments.
Jacksonville comes into this game allowing about 23 points on defense. Ground game, and they respond this time, this Jacksonville defense. They get a push at the very last moment, and it's big number 55, John Martin, 6'2", 255, who makes the stop.
And that is just exactly what the home crowd wanted to see, to get back on their feet and to find their voices again.
You know that's going to be a little bit of redemption for Martin, as he was the guy who was stiff-armed as Comisac made his way into the end zone on the previous series. He gets some redemption there, and no fair catch called for, and a tough hit just outside of the 10-yard line, and Jacksonville will begin their drive with a long way to go from their 13.
And that's so dangerous. I just have to say that's not what you want to see your return man doing. I hope Coach has a talk with him on the sidelines, because when you take those kinds of hits, you risk putting yourself out of the game. You risk putting the ball on the ground, neither of which are what your team needs you to be doing.
Expect to see a heavy dose of the ground game today. Right now we see air. Bruin to throw. That pass incomplete. Good defensive coverage by Florida there. That was number 34 on the stop. That's Daniel Wright, his first season in Florida. We expect at some point, Alex, to see a ground game. Shepard Vicari at 636 yards and 5 touchdowns coming in to this event.
You think, but with how fast Florida put themselves ahead, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Jacksonville feel like they have to get a little bit more air focused.
So far, that is the case. You're right. Oh, he steps back dangerously close to the end zone there. He does get the ball away before getting hit, so that will go as an incompletion, but that was scary for just a moment.
Absolutely terrifying, especially when you consider, again, we talked a little bit about how the 2 defensive tackles on these teams, literally neighbors, are just both competing for the sack leaderboards tonight, and the defensive ends are also up there. Everyone on that front 4 is a menace.
Send a man in motion. King Alexander now to the bottom of the screen where you see 3 receivers lined up, 1 at the top. Pressure coming. He stands in, throws, delivers a nice pass, but it's not able to be reeled in. Of course, that's good coverage by Davidson, intended for Kingston Ellington, but it looked like that one was in his hands.
It looked like it was right there, but an absolutely devastating hit, really. And that was one that, like, really you see the home crowd just kind of suck air a little bit, because they're glad to see their guy get up. That's a brutal one to see hit the turf.
A couple of defensive barbs traded between the 2 teams after that opening touchdown by Florida. And now the punting unit back out, Liam Price. And Florida looks to have pretty good field position here. On the return, out to midfield, as that is Vandelay again, who gets rolled over and puts the ball right on the 50. Folks, if you are new to the Simulation Football League, welcome. The SFL is football for everyone. Get off the sideline and start your player today by joining our Discord server at simulationfl.net. Simply click the Join the Community button and begin your career. Or if you just want to meet the stars of the SFL on and off the field, you can do that too. It's never too late to get involved. 1st and 10, right at the midfield stripe, as you can see. Ron Cochran and company ready to take over. Delayed handoff. They give it to Bullet Beletsky, and he goes for 5.
And that's just Beletsky doing his thing again, workmanlike runs until he's going to eventually break one off. He's here to just chip away at you with those steady underneath shots, those steady gut shots, and he's more than happy to run between the tackles, outside the tackles, whichever way you call the play, he's game to run it.
Just now halfway through the first quarter. Back to the ground game they go with Comisac. Shrugs a tackle, shrugs a second tackle, and gets the first down. Great physical running. You just talked about it, Alex, just how physical this guy is.
And that's it on full display. If Bullet Beletsky is the Lightning, this man is the Thunder. 6'1", 250 pounds, a former All-Star in season 20, and he is here to make you feel his impact in the ground game.
1st and 10 now, 2 receivers at the bottom of the screen, and you see 2 men in the backfield. They stay on the ground. This is a handoff to Kaysen, who gets 4, so using their third running back in the arsenal there. 2nd and 6 on the way.
Kind of a natural consequence if you're having to use both your halfback and your fullback to carry the ball equally. Sometimes you got to dip a little bit further into the strings.
On the ground game again to Comisac. Grounding and pounding. He gets close. 3rd and 2 on the way. Again, another important stop here for Jacksonville. They did it last time. They got the big stop they needed. Well, they need more of the same right now, correct, Alex?
No doubt about it, but at this point, the best that you can hope for is to really try and get a negative play here, because this is within Marcus Agrippa's leg, I think.
They just inside the 30 at the 29. They keep it on the ground. They get, again, the pressure that they need up front, but somehow, take a look at Bullet Boletsky dodging, speaking of bullets, a bunch of tackles, and he gets the first down. How did he get out of that hornet's nest of Jacksonville defenders?
I don't know how, but it's like he was seeing the Matrix. He just knew exactly where he had to be, and one more tackle, if he is able to shuck off the touchdown saving attempt there, or the touchdown saving tackle by Bo Ramsey, that goes for 6 otherwise.
On 1st and 10, Cochran to throw. We haven't seen it much, but there it is, Vandelay. He had it in his hands. A good defensive effort by Jacksonville, and that's young Vaught with the, we'll say, jarring of the football to bring the incompletion.
And what a shot. Ron Cochran is here. He's out for blood right now. If there's any moment where he sees a look deep, he's going to take it.
They go back to the air, to the end zone. Again, a second time they look for Vandelay, and a second time it's young Vaught. They're tempting, and so far, Vaught has responded.
Just, ow. That's all I got to say. Twice in a row. My credit goes out to Art Vandelay for putting his body in the line of fire. Not once, but 2 plays in a row.
Yeah, that is,
and he doesn't even get the touchdown from it.
Yeah, 2 times they picked on young Vaught. The 5'10" man has stood up largely to this point. 3rd and 10, and this is a big one here. They roll out Cochran, throwing again. This time, there it is, the completion. They're not afraid to try a different thing or two. They go with the rollout, and Stephen Bush gets the 1st and goal.
And not only that, that's a moment where he's seeing that, okay, fine, you've got the safeties playing deep, you're watching the end zone, good on you, fine. I see you got a little soft patch right here. Honestly, I don't know how he sees that window. There's so many purple jerseys in between him and his target. I don't know how he or Stephen Bush were on the same page, but lo and behold.
And young Vaught getting another tackle. He already leads the team in tackles. That'll be about tackle number 80 for Vaught. But nevertheless, 1st and 10 for Florida. They look to pound it in with Comisac, and he is stopped. Again, another good defensive effort by Tigga Clay, and that's one thing we can say about this Jacksonville defense. They're fighting hard, just as hard as they can, to keep this very talented team out of the end zone.
For sure. They are looking to defend home turf. It does not matter what the record has been. It does not matter what history is. They want to fight here and now.
And if they can get a stop right here on the goal line, that could be huge. Florida sending a man in motion. That's Nate LeMay. Back to the ground game, and this time Comisac will not be denied. Touchdown number 10 on the season, and Florida goes up by 2 scores.
And this is exactly what Florida likes to do in short yardage situations, because they know that with their overall game plan, you're going to be looking at either shots deep from the passing attack that paired with some mid-range game, but then the rushing attack coming underneath, and they have lightning in a bottle and a human bowling ball scattering defenders like 10 pins.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very good analogy there, Alex, as Ethan Snead comes on to attempt the extra point. And now 14 points is the margin between Florida and Jacksonville. 10 plays, 50-yard drive, That's a little more methodical than what we sometimes see out of Florida, but boy, it did the trick.
Well, you know, we saw them make a couple of shots for those big explosive plays. Didn't work at first, so they took what the defense gave them. It's a respect to the adaptability.
On the return, and a good return at that by Joe Beasley. Shrugging tackles, would not be denied, and he knows he has to take matters into his own hands, get his team some really good position, and he comes away doing so.
And that's a spark of life. That is a moment that you needed as a team. Say, okay, we've got a shorter field here. It does not matter that O.J. Bruin is 0-5. This is the first drive of the game. This is the first drive of the game. Nothing else has happened prior to now. We need to put points on the board.
We mentioned how Jacksonville is 2-7 coming into this game, but what we haven't mentioned is how close some of those margins of victories have been. They lost by 6 to Seattle last week. Carolina, they lost by 3. Before that, it was Atlanta. They lost by 10, so they can play their opponents close. They really just need the offensive production. We'll see if they can find it starting on this drive with great field position. The tight end, Copeland Jr., moving in motion. Bruin again to throw. The pass, it is off the mark. Still looking for a completion here. Good defense by Evan Carroll. Let's say hello to the Florida defense. The defensive ends, Deontay Stoneville and Alessandro Tamaello. The defensive tackles, Alex Dominguez and Pete Mitchell. The linebackers, Ryan Tobin, Jesus Smith, and Juan Mississippi. The cornerbacks, Ryan Davidson, Evan Carroll, and Adam Jones. And the safeties, Big O Renfro, Daniel Wright, Andrew Francis, and J.J. Bailey. And they have played lights out thus far in this game. And Ellington is the man in motion to the bottom of your screen. And so we'll see Bruin rolling out. The lefty throws. The pass is again incomplete. And I know that you want to go to the air. You want to try to play competitive, being down as you are. But at what point do you decide, let's go back to our bread and butter, this ground game here?
Honestly, we have to brace ourselves, I think, a little bit, because down 2 scores, this is already a place of desperation. I think they're looking for a home run ball any way they can get it.
We'll see if they can get something going. Bruin 0 of 7. Now, there's his first completion, and boy, it couldn't have come at a better time. That is Kingston Ellington. First down, their first down of the game.
And there's the home run ball they've been looking for. It's one of those things where I didn't think they were going to be going away from this, down 2 scores already. This is one of those moments where I think truly they're going to have to live or die by the pass, and that one gave them a big chance at putting points on the board. All they need is one more game like that, and they're in position to put points on the board.
There's some risk and reward that obviously comes with that, and it's O.J. Bruin, who has 15 interceptions on the season as opposed to 4 touchdowns. Going to have to be very careful to not turn that ball over to a Florida defense that are complete ball hogs at times. Bruin again to throw, and there it is. We just talked about the deadly interception, and that is Daniel Wright picking up his 6th INT of the season.
Right on cue, this Florida defense snags another one. They came into this game second in the league at takeaways with 23, make it 24. They are here to punish a one-dimensional offense, especially when O.J. Bruin clearly isn't comfortable being the centerpiece of an offensive attack. 1-8 before that, now he's 1-9 with an interception. My heart goes out to him.
We are still in the first quarter, 1:30 left in this opening period. And we have another ground attack here by Bullet Boletsky, who just about broke a few tackles, and had he would have been gone to the house. Otherwise, it's a 5-yard gain.
And this is already getting kind of the a feel of just Florida's beginning to march. They've put it all together. This is David and Goliath, if you think about it that way, and Goliath seems to have the answers to the sling.
A toss play to the left side to Comisac. He gets a few more. Again, 3rd and short coming up, and we'll see at least one more play here in this opening quarter. And we'll remind you that Florida, as you see on the top of the screen there, they are 9-0 coming into this game, coming off of a 19-0 victory over Denver the previous week, who was also a 2-7 team. So we know what they can do against these 2-7 teams. They keep it on the ground on 3rd and 2. Common sack. He is going to be, oh my goodness, stop short, and just as short as it possibly can get by Tigga Clay.
Kind of surprised we're not seeing Laundry come out on the field. A little bit of red flag there. Say, hey, what's the spot of that ball like? But, you know, there it is.
Last minute, too, as they were about to snap that football. And, Alex, we're going to get a retroactive look at the play presented to you by Retroid. Get your SFL console at goretroid.com when you feel like they just had to take this challenge.
Why not, right? That's one of those things where the spot of the ball, it looks very questionable. You could say, well, we need to spot it from where point of contact started, not from where he actually went down at. And the line is just a projection. It's up to the refs to spot it. What do they got for us? I think he's got it, though.
The play stands. Florida is charged a timeout, and Jacksonville chalk one up for them. They get a little momentum on their side with that challenge going their way. Now they just got to make the best of it.
For sure, and that's absolutely the right call to make. And I think it's one of those things where if you get that call, you know, you're sitting pretty, the drive continues. If not, whatever, you only lose a timeout. You're up 2 scores.
Marcus Agrippa to punt. This one is fielded around the 15-yard line. He gets it back out to the 19. So 11 seconds left in this first quarter in Jacksonville. This game is still very manageable. This game, you know, they were able to prevent getting points. They were able to keep Florida from getting points off of that turnover. That is huge. Now we're just waiting for this Jacksonville offense to wake up.
Honestly, yeah, I feel like the Jacksonville defense has overall done what you would ask them to do. There's one play that got away from that 70-yard bomb that Florida got very early on. But outside of that, they've done a very respectable job in this first quarter. The offense is not delivered.
Bruin again to throw. Dangerous throw. Quarterback and receiver certainly were not on the same page that time, as that was Connor Weston, the intended target.
And that's an O.J. Bruin watch 1 of 10 so far. And these are some tough throws that he's being asked to make, especially with how good this Florida defense has been scheming.
This offense just looking for some chemistry. Now pressure coming, but he gets rid of it. Oh, that was scary. That was almost intercepted. Very close. Daniel Wright just about had his second of the day.
Lurking, wanting another one. That you feel like he's a little bit kicking himself a little bit. I could have had another one for sure.
We expect this to be the final play of the first quarter. 3 receivers to the bottom of the screen, 1 up to the top. O.J. Bruin, pressure coming. He unloads. He throws into traffic, doing all he can do to try to get the football down there. Intended for Kingston Ellington, incomplete. 4th down, and that's where we will pick things back up. Right now, folks, Florida with a commanding lead, 14-0 over Jacksonville. You are watching the Simulation Football League on YouTube. Thank you for being with us. My name is Cameron Duty. I'm with Alex West, Ron Haynes, and Damon Simeon in the stats truck, and of course Cameron Irvine in the production truck as well. And you can see O.J. Bruin's pass attempts tonight. It has been rocky, to say the least. And Liam Price has been the MVP so far for this Jacksonville team as far as getting the ball in the air. The return to Vandelay, and again, good field position, and you're already asking Jacksonville kind of to play obviously behind the 8 ball here, Alex, but then only a 50-yard or so field that Florida has to work with.
It's one of those, it's a tall order. You got to ask the defense to come up with a big stop in short yardage when Florida has not really struggled to move the ball against them so far. 148 total yards of offense just in the first quarter alone. That's, you extrapolate that over a whole 4-quarter game. That's 600 yards. No way that's sustainable, but still.
The toss, right side to Bullet Boletsky, who that's his 7th carry of the day. He's averaging right around 5 yards per carry. And they continue to lean on that ground game as Cochran has only had to throw it 5 times thus far. He has completed 2, and the ones that he did complete were big strikes. Second and 9 now. Stephen Bush is in motion, coming from right to left. The handoff, and that goes for a couple. Wiley that time in on the run, and 3rd and 4. They like to even go deep in their arsenal here of halfbacks.
You just got to keep fresh legs in there. You got to keep everyone with as much wind in their tank as they can get, because you don't want to be dropping the football just because you're a little gassed out.
3rd and 4, a toss play left side to Boletsky. He gets the first down, and he gets more. He crosses the 40, and again, another commanding offensive drive starting here for this Storm.
And it's just very, I don't want to say predictable, but it's very deliberate. It's very one piece at a time, and every piece of the puzzle makes sense. It makes sense why they would call Boletsky to the outside there. This Jacksonville defense has come in averaging over 120 yards of a game average allowed. So this is just more on the reason.
Cochran to throw. The pass complete to Vandelay. We do have a flag. So it'll be our first of the day. Let's see what the ref has to say. And pass interference on the defense. That's obviously going to get declined. And Florida is inside, or should I say just knocking on the red zone. I think they're going to spot them at the 21.
Talk about that flag right there. That feels like insult to injury. It's not even accepted because it would shorten the yards you gain.
The handoff on first down, and this time Boletsky is going to get stopped. Couldn't go anywhere thanks to Logan Gardner.
Looks like Jacksonville's, looks like they have started to pick up on a tendency of Florida to maybe try and rush on that first down. They've sent the blitz a couple of times. They've stopped those runs on short yard for short to no yards.
The pass that is complete to Vandelay, and he has been the go-to man, not only a lot in this season, but certainly in this game as well.
And that one right there is just a simple case of Jacksonville sending the house, trying to get pressure, but Vandelay there with all kinds of space in the zone defense to take advantage of. He just had to find the window for Ron Cochran to deliver a beautiful ball right on target. And that's Art Vandelay up over the century mark. You can see right there.
Vandelay having a day, no doubt. On 1st and goal, we will see what formation they come out with here. They go past to the end zone. That is going to be close. They're going to say 2nd and goal. I guess they're going to say that Bush was just outside of the end zone there when he was able to maintain possession. 2nd down on the way.
One of those funky moments where the player had broken the plane, but the ball had not.
And you can see just how close it is. Florida centimeters away from going up by 3 scores. Comisac, touchdown. We've seen it all day, and it continues here.
And that's a hat trick for him. And Florida's offense is just continuing to destroy any hope the home crowd has of an upset win here. Boos raining down, but Chris Comisac pays it no mind as he celebrates.
Again, as you said, you pointed it out, Alex, 3 touchdowns already on the day for Comisac, and that brings his total up to 11 on the season. So a very productive day for Florida on offense already, and Ethan Snead back out to attempt the extra point. It is good. It's right down Broadway, and after an 8-play, 53-yard drive, Jacksonville will get the ball back, again down by 3, and as you mentioned here, you expect them to have to go to the air, but right now they just need some sort of spark in any way that it could come. They need some points, and they need it now.
Now or never, because at this point, there is such a thing as too little too late. You got to start building a comeback now. And the offense has just not had any part of participation in this game. You see the scorebook showing us over 200 yards of total offense for Florida versus 13.
I thought he was going to break one there, Alex, with Ellington. Somehow got out of those tackles. He had a little bit of momentum ahead. Take a look at this. The guy takes a shot, and you know what? They know how important it is to get some life here.
The special teams came to play. It's just a matter of, can the offensive line buy O.J. Brown enough time? Can O.J. Brown make the reads and deliver passes, or O.J. Brown on target, to get to where his receivers can catch it? They have to throw the football, but it hasn't been working. It's got to start working.
So after a nice return out to the 30, Jacksonville will take over, and Bruin will throw. That pass complete, no. Jarred out. They say fumble, and they say that that's Weston who picks it up, and he is going. Spin move to the 30. Now we're going to have to take a look at that and see if that truly was a fumble or not. That could just as easily be an incompletion. But for Jacksonville's sake, they would love to see that call stand as a fumble.
Absolutely, you would. I think, honestly, if that's not a fumble, that's a incomplete pass because of how that ball gets jarred out. He doesn't look like he really gets 2 feet.
And so far, we're not seeing a challenge of any sort by Florida. The play will stand. And after that, they haven't snapped it yet, have they? They came in late on that last one. And they will get this play off. So the biggest play of the day so far comes off of a fumble recovery, a gain of 1 that time. The first running play of the day by Shepard Vakarian.
Finally, right? You've been waiting on a run play, any run play the whole time. That's their first attempt.
We'll see if they again look towards the halfback. Instead, they go back to the ground game with Bruin. Pressure is coming. Instead, it's a screen pass out of the backfield to Dalton Williams. And he gets a first down, and all of a sudden, a little bit of life. We see a pulse here out of these Jacksonville Kings.
Took the words right out of my mouth. They are starting to put something together. They are well within scoring range, but now here comes the other challenge that has been something of a bugaboo for the Kings so far this year. They are now in the red zone. They have got to score. They have got to avoid a turnover. And OJ has had a rough season so far with throwing interceptions. He needs to avoid one here more than any other point.
Jacksonville has only been in the red zone 3 times this entire season, and there's the dreaded sack you just talked about. Alex Dominguez gets home, and it's a loss of 3, and that could spoil the drive if they're not careful.
And you can't take another one of those, right? You can't keep backing yourself up. You've got to keep this within a makeable range for your kicker. You cannot ask Jordan Bradshaw to be making a 49, 50, 51-yard field goal. You want to keep it in the 30s to 40s.
2nd and 13. As we said, it's just outside of the 20-yard line, so backed out of red zone territory for the moment, and pressure coming. We just talked about it. He had to get rid of that football. Alessandro Tamaello gets the sack, and, Bruin had to get rid of that football. Now they're backing him out of field goal range.
And this is just the danger of this whole defensive line, right? Every single one of these front 4 are killers. They are here to ruin your day.
They smell blood in the water, that's for sure. Dominguez, as we mentioned, coming into the game today with 6 sacks. Tamaello with 2. And he runs right into him there, tried to do a rollout. They couldn't. They completely snuffed it out. Jacksonville gets nothing, and Stoneville stays stonewalled for his 4th sack of the season.
Okay, and I just want to highlight for a moment, this Florida offense just had a chance in the red zone. 3 plays, 3 consecutive sacks by 3 different Florida Storm linemen, and this is a punt, not a field goal. What can you say?
That was huge. Huge by this defense as Price looks to kind of cough and kick it, and
you don't even get the bounce on the punt.
He tried his best indeed. A great effort by Price to try to back him up. It does bounce into the end zone for a touchback. 4 minutes left in this second quarter. And folks, if you're liking the game so far, and if you're a Florida fan, you certainly will, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The SFL produces over 400 events a year. There is no one else that gives you more football. Don't miss a minute of SFL or SFLM action and help the channel grow through your support. Speaking of support, take a look at this run game and what it's doing for the Florida Storm today. Another 4-yard gain. That's about average with what Boletsky's doing today.
And I think that we're just going to see a lot more of that steady diet of rushing attack from Florida. They are up 3 scores. They have no incentive to do anything other than chew clock and push the ball forward.
2nd and 10 coming up. And we see, or excuse me, 2nd and 6, I apologize. 3rd and 3 after a nice little gain that time by the running unit. And, not to try to overstate things here, but again, this 3rd down, each one continues to be more critical for Jacksonville, Alex, as they continue to fall behind.
Especially now, it's like they're trying to hold off Florida from going up 4 scores before the half.
And no doing that time. This offense and this offensive line and the fullback, Chris Komisak, just doing what he does best, what he has done this entire game. Another fresh set of downs. Take a look at the stats. Komisak, again, having a day. Not as many yards as he, as you would think you'd have with 3 TDs, but it's because they use him in the short yardage situation. Boletsky again for a gain of 3, 2nd and 7. The clock running down, approaching 2 minutes.
And something I think is a little bit commendable is I haven't ever heard any commentary or any sort of disturbances in the Florida Storm locker room. Boletsky losing a lot of his touchdowns and a lot of this action in the short yardage going to Komisak. Credit to him for being a veteran leader.
All for the good of the team, right? And that's a nice play again by Komisak. He gets within 1 yard of the first down, so 3rd and 1 here coming up. But you make a very good point, Alex, as to the camaraderie that this team currently possesses.
And it's a winning team is a happy team, right?
A winning team will allow you to do or try things that maybe you wouldn't otherwise, including sharing the football. 2-minute warning is here on this first half. Florida again threatening. You're watching the SFL on YouTube. We thank you for spending your Saturday night with us here in Jacksonville as the battle of 2 Florida teams continue to rage on, with Florida, the Storm, leading by 3 scores and a 3rd and short on the way. Leaping is Komisak to get the first down, and here's where you'll see them take control of this 2-minute clock.
And they are looking to wind it down and grind it down. I'll be surprised. They might take a shot or 2 here just to try and get within field goal range, but they would be just as happy to end up 3, I think, as long as they don't give Jacksonville a chance to score.
Cochran to throw. It's a screen out of the backfield. Stiff arm by Komisak, and if you don't use him as a halfback or a fullback, rather, just use him as a wide receiver.
And it's just kind of, it's a little bit ridiculous how multi-talented he is. You're not supposed to be able to be that big and that bruising and have those kinds of soft hands, right? Look at him go.
That's his 10th reception of the season, and by far one of his longest plays, I would think, out of that receiving position, if you will. 1st and 10 now. The clock stopped at 1:33 as we are approaching halftime. The handoff, and I believe that is Boletsky getting that carry, and he does for a gain of 3, Alex. And, we talk about it. We talk about this Florida offense. We talk about how good they are in comparison to the other strong team out there, Canton. They're going to meet down the road at some point. Just how do you feel about this assessment of Florida this first half?
Honestly, this is exactly what you want to see as a Florida fan. This is exactly what you want to see as the Florida coaching staff and front office staff. They are doing exactly what you expect of them on the road against a rival they have beaten several times before. They are showing they are dominant. They are the top team in the East playing the bottom team in the East, and they look like a 9-0 team should look. That gives them a lot of optimism and a lot of positive energy going into this upcoming Week 13 match with the only other undefeated team. Oh, ball on the ground.
The ball is on the ground, and thank goodness for those offensive linemen, right, able to roll up on that one. That is Tyson Walter, who made the big play coming up. As you said, Cochran just lost the football there.
And you see Cochran, even after a ball hits the ground, you see he goes to his man, pats him on the shoulder. You think you're going to be getting Tyson Walter a steak dinner after this game's all said and done.
You know something? When you are good, you're good. What can you say? Even the fumbles get picked up, and as we said, it does force the fourth down. But nevertheless, they will punt this away, and they're going to give just a couple of seconds left on the clock, possibly here, less than 40 for sure, for Jacksonville to work with. Agrippa to punt, and he will try to pin them deep, and that bounces into the end zone, right?
That's twice in a row. Yeah, that looked like it. It's twice in a row now. We've seen what looked like an otherwise beautiful punt angled just at the angle it needed to go through the end zone instead of out on the sideline.
Feels kind of like we're watching one of those old classic punt, pass, and kick competitions. Remember those from back in the day?
Oh, man, back in track and field, let me tell you, I had a leg.
Handoff. Now they keep it on the ground, which has been a rarity thus far, to Shepard Vakarian, and you get the feeling they may just want to ride this into halftime.
And why not, right? At this point, if you just start airing it out, if you throw the ball the wrong way, or if OJ takes a sack and puts the ball on the ground, you give Florida extremely short field position. You let them get a field goal. You don't want to have that. Let's just take it to the half.
And Jacksonville will get the ball back to start the second half. They again keep it on the ground this time. It's the tight end Dot Williams who gets the carry. And that will bring us to zeros on this first half. A first half completely dominated by the Florida Storm. Jacksonville still trying to find their footing. And as we head into the locker room, Alex, I'll turn it over to you, my friend. Tell me, of course, what you've seen, what you're impressed with, and what you need to see in the next two quarters.
Honestly, I think credit goes to Florida here. They came in with a solid, cohesive game plan. They knew what they were going to do to win this game, and they have executed on every level. The onus has been on Jacksonville to disrupt or otherwise foil the Storm's game plan, and they have not been able to manage. The passing attack has been enough over the top to complement the gut punches that you're getting from the two-back attack of Chris Karmasach and Bullet Bileski, and it's just a force to behold, this Florida offense. And the defense has also been lights out. They have held O.J. Bruin to 3 completions on 14 attempts. His QBR is 9.8. This is a nightmare day for Jacksonville overall.
As we welcome you back inside the Lions Den, and as you mentioned right now, the Storm overtaking the Lions Den, at least in that first half. Jacksonville will get the ball back here to start this second half. Desperately needed. We welcome you back in. My name's Cameron Duty. I'm joined with Alex West. Again, big thanks to Ron Haynes, Damon Simeon in the stats truck, and Cameron Irvine in the production truck. And this half will start with a touchback. And Alex, I'm going to put you, you're the coach of Jacksonville here. What are you going to draw up?
I think that honestly, you accept that you're down and you get the running game involved, because the passing its only attack option just has not worked. You've got to do some run plays here. Honestly, a weak side run would be nice here. Fullback's in position. Florida's threatening blitz.
And they do hand it off to Vakarian, and he gets warmed after a gain of 1. So, again, you mentioned they did go back to the run play. You have to accept you are down, as you said, by 3 scores here, and just see what you can come up with.
And at some point, it can't all not work forever. You've got to decide at some point you're going to accept a few short yardage runs so you can get a medium and a long yardage run eventually.
The handoff again That is Sean Sanders, who we haven't heard much of at all, if any at all, in this game to this point. And Alex, we talk about the passing game for Jacksonville. We've seen them take a lot of deep shots, but we haven't seen a lot of short routes, a lot of over the middle throws. Why is that?
Honestly, I think that's all about Florida's defense and their safeties and their corners. They have been absolute ball hawks all season. I think Jacksonville schemed away from that because they know it.
And that almost looked like it was going to be a completion for Kingston Ellington. But again, we've talked about the Storm and Ryan Davidson and company all night, just how well they've done tackling.
Some of these hits have been absolute, I don't know, what would you say here? Absolute skull
Brutal.
rattlers, you know? It's,
Yeah.
You just look and you go, oh, ugh.
May see a couple of these players here getting taped and bandaged up at the end of this one. So a 3 and out, and you will again see the punter on. That is Liam Price, and he gets a good one off here, and we'll see if Jacksonville can stop Vandelay. They do. They'll take over at the 37-yard line.
And this is a big moment for Jacksonville's defense here. The offense has shown that they have not figured out the Florida's defensive scheme as yet. You have to be the ones to stand up and say, we're going to bring some life here. It's on the defense, now or never.
Delayed handoff that time, and a good defensive push by number 55 of the Jacksonville Kings. That is John Martin. We've mentioned his name a couple of times in this game already.
So far, the defense's leading tackler with 7, and he is once again making his presence felt there at the inside linebacker position.
So on second down, that's Cochran to pass. He throws it to Beletsky, has room to run, and gets very close to that first down line. And there's a problem we've seen all day long. They can't get them down upon first contact.
That's honestly, these backs and these receivers for Florida are so physical at every position. They are all bulky fellas. It's great credit to the strength training coaches that have gotten these athletes up to peak performance.
And that run by Komisak, we expect him in the short yardage position, and there he is, another first down.
Don't need a crystal ball to see what they're going to do on 3rd and 1. Feels like deja vu.
Right at midfield. As you can see, you can't get more at midfield than they are at this point. And a handoff to Beletsky, who goes for 4. And, 2nd and 6, we talk about this running tandem and how they just stack up against others. Impressive, to say the least.
And honestly, one of the other things I love about this 1-2 punch is it really is a 1-2. It's not a 1-1-2. It's 1-2.
Fair distribution all the way around, and Komisak threatening to break free on that. And I love it. He is a fullback. You're right, Alex. But, he has speed and sometimes agility as a halfback, and that's impressive in that position.
He's not wearing a fullback's numbers. He does more than what you'd think an average fullback would be capable of. I honestly hesitate to say that he's a true fullback with how often we've seen him in the 2H spot.
He can even be shifty when he needs to as well, and elusive. Now, Beletsky gets stopped that time, and a big play, a big defensive effort by John Patrick Levine, and they force Florida off the field.
And that is one of those huge moments, and it's not exactly as fast. Oh, my goodness.
Do not. Oh, my goodness. So as I was looking and we were talking, I'm like, could they be? They're going to go for it on 4th and inches, and they're going to get it. But the ball is loose. The ball is loose, and it's a return this time by Levine. We mentioned John Patrick Levine. He's running down the sidelines to almost the 30-yard line. That couldn't have went worse for Florida. They tried to be gutsy there, and they get a fumble.
Getting a little too cute with it. They went to Chris Komisak again, 4th, and you couldn't get much shorter, but he's a little gassed after how many carries he already had. That hit sprung that ball loose, and what a heads-up play by John Patrick Levine to not fall on it, to scoop it up, to have the surety of hands to corral a bouncing football on the run and then move.
Let's give a credit to Havo Ramsey, who came in and made, as we mentioned, a bone-rattling hit to jar the football away. And now, Jacksonville, you've got the best shot you're going to have this entire game. Let's see what they can do. On the 33-yard line, they need positive yards here. They keep it on the ground to Vakarian. He shakes a tackle, and he's going to get a couple at least. He fought I feel like he run 20 yards to get 2, but it is forward progress.
And it is, but I would love to see a little bit more north and south, not so much east and west, but he didn't have a choice but to bounce that one up outside. Jacksonville's front 5 need to give him a big push here and get some proper running lanes.
Closing in on 6 minutes to go here in this third quarter. And we see motion as they will send their tight end, Jim Copeland Jr., to the left side of the formation. Ground game, and Sean Sanders goes backwards, and we said that's what we need to not see out of Jacksonville right here.
It's you cue what you want to see, and then just the opposite happens. It feels like that old game show, no whammies, pop. Nope, There you go for it. Your money's at 0.
3rd and 12, pressure coming. They stand in there. The pass is intercepted, and this Florida defense, again, doing a nice job of stopping any hope. That's J.J. Bailey with the INT. It's his first of the season.
From whammy to double whammy. At that point, they went from a short yardage. Maybe they could settle for a field goal. They can get some positive yards here, and even a chance at putting 3 on the board is snuffed out. The O remains in place, and Florida is going to be more than happy to just chew up more clock. Run the ball.
This Florida defense, fantastic. Only 17 points allowed per game on average. That tells you something. They're performing way below that right now. 2nd and 2. Go ahead, Out.
Oh, let's throw it over to Cameron Irvine for a game update.
Let's throw it to Cameron Irvine. That's right, Alex. Game update. Come on, Cam. What you got, bud?
Thanks, guys. Well, Fort Worth was on upset alert, but this pass goes behind Mike Twinscrew, and after Louisiana was only down 6, threatening to take the lead, the MVP of season 21, Adam Leach, takes it all the way back and scores. Delaney Nash won the MVP, but you get what I mean. The secondary is legit. 26-13, Fort Worth now trying to put it away. Back to you.
Thanks, Cam. Certainly appreciate that. And on 3rd and 8 here, Florida commanding as well, just as Fort Worth is over there on the other game. Rollout, Cochran. He throws. The pass is complete. That is Stephen Bush for one of the, I believe that could be his first reception of the day if I'm looking at the stat sheet correctly. And moving the chains.
And it's just a plethora of options, a wide variety of talent, and it's only now in this moment that Ron Cochran finds his longest serving fellow teammate here on this offensive squad. Stephen Bush has been here for 9 years with the Storm.
Correction, 2nd reception of the day. That was also his 2nd target, as you mentioned, the long-standing man here at Florida. The handoff to Boletsky, trying to shimmy through. He doesn't get much, and instead it is this Jacksonville defense. Honestly, yeah, you're down by 21, but these guys, they have stopped them so many times, it's unbelievable.
They can stop them, and they have no quit in them. It's on the offense to answer, and so far Jacksonville's offense has just let this defensive unit with all kinds of fight in them down.
Boletsky on the run. He pops it out right side, and he gets a few, so again, another 3rd and 4. But yeah, if you got to find a silver lining in the cloud, it is this Jacksonville defense that it honestly could be a lot worse than 21-0 at this point.
Especially with how many possessions that Florida has had, how many times Jacksonville's offense has just given the ball right back. They've been on the field so much.
Again, right side. That's Comasack, and he is going to be tackled, and they're going to say forward progress gets the first. I thought he may have been just a little bit short. Will be interesting to see if they choose to challenge it here. What do you think? There it is.
We don't even have to guess and see what I think. That coach is not waiting at all.
So again, we will take another retroactive look at the play, and that is presented to you by Retroid. As we always say, get your SFL console at goretroid.com. It is a thing of beauty. Now, let's see if this tackle here was a thing of beauty and keeps Komisak behind the line.
Frank Gooden is right there on that sideline, right there. He can see it clear as day. Oh, he's short of the line to gain.
He's short. He is short. Young Vaught did his job. Will the referee see it that way? And it is overturned, and Jacksonville is not charged a timeout. So again, props to this Jacksonville defense because, as we said, they have done this time and time again tonight.
But hang on just one moment. We've seen him go for it on 4th and inches before. Will he do it again?
Yep, that's exactly right. 4th and inches. How brave do you want to be here? Oh, yeah. Florida feeling good tonight. The crowd on its feet chanting defense. It is 4th and inches. Will they snap the ball? You betcha they will. A toss play left side. And that is close, but they are going to say, yeah, they're going to say he got it. But Jacksonville's going to challenge again. This is incredible, folks. Let's again take a retroactive look at the play presented to you by Retroid. By now, you've surely got your SFL console at goretroid.com.
At this point, I think I'm typing in the URL to my phone right now.
Did they stop him? Oh, that's going to be so close. And that's Young Vaught again.
He's everywhere. Oh, I think he did it.
I think this is a first in SFL history. And it's overturned again, so Jacksonville is not charged a timeout once more. They win that challenge. They get the football back, but you talk about a team having to fight for it. Florida is making them play hard for it.
And honestly, I'm just in shock a little bit that Chris Komisak has been in 3 consecutive extreme short yardage situations stuffed by this defense, and one time he put the ball on the ground. What's happening?
Well, that was entertaining. 1st and 10 now for Jacksonville on their 37-yard line, so they get good field position as well. The handoff to Vicarian. He gets wrestled down after a gain of 3. My goodness.
And now it's finally the offense is doing a positive play here. String a couple more together. Let's get a first down here. We haven't had many this game. Show me you can make one. Show me you can make another one.
The score is 21-0. I don't think it's indicative of the type of game that we have had, at least on a defensive standpoint, by these two teams. That's been impressive. Sanders now with his best run easily of the day, a manageable 3rd and 5 on the way.
Well, we say manageable, but we really need to see OJ make a medium range completion here. All eyes on Mr. Bruin.
3rd and 5, and they send Ellington. That's Kingston Ellington in motion to the bottom of the screen here. And throw as we expected. That pass just off the hands of the intended target to Connor Weston. And man, oh man, because right there was the shot you wanted. You had the wide open man.
That's what you needed, right, to keep this drive alive. To not only keep this drive alive, but really to keep your hopes of getting back in this game alive.
And with that said, Liam Price is going to have to get a really good ice rub down treatment at the end of this one as he punts it away once more. And that's a boomer. A nice job and a good job of defense downfield by the returns special teams unit there to stop Vandalay from advancing.
I tell you, the defense for Jacksonville has been competitive. The special teams has been giving every ounce that they have. It's on the offense to really answer, but when you are 1 for 8 on 3rd down, you're not really going to be putting up much as far as fight goes, and we see that in the score.
First down from the 19-yard line. That is a pass out to Beletsky, who gets 5 before getting tackled along the sidelines. And, yeah, you made the point right there. The defense and special teams for Jacksonville has played wonderfully tonight. It's just that the offense is, and if you don't have an offense, Alex, you can't respond to a team such as the Florida Storm.
And this Florida Storm offense is not bad enough where you're going to be able to rely on your defense outscoring their offense. They are here to win.
There's a name that we've heard, Young Vaught with another tackle. So tack another one on for Young Vaught, who really has had a good day for himself.
Surely. And this team really, the defensive stars to look at here, they are here and they are having a wonderful night. Vaught has had himself a show, and we've also been seeing some great performances at the linebacker positions.
Pressure coming, but he gets rid of it, and that's Ryan Bush, who he has went to a couple of times in this game when he needed something big, and he gets it there.
And just watch this replay here. See how this is a ball that Ron Cochran sees the soft spot in the defense, knows he's got a one-on-one. The safety has not made it over to help yet. It's a one-on-one ball, and he trusts his guy.
Cochran has had a very productive day, as you see right there. Hasn't had to go to the air a lot, but when he has been able to make good on it. So from the midfield stripe, it is first down again, and that pass almost intercepted. That was dangerous. Dylan Bamsteller, the rookie, just about had a pick.
Trying to squeeze that one into a forest of purple jerseys. One of the handful of questionable throws we've seen from Cochran today. He's been very careful with the football. That's a little bit uncharacteristic of him.
Bamsteller was looking for his second INT of the season. And this defense continuing to play, continuing to show life. And you know they're getting gassed. They have to be. Ryan Bush now, the man in motion. We're just down to 35 seconds left in this third quarter. They keep it on the ground, and again, Vaught is in on a tackle, 3rd and 7 on the way. Folks, quickly, let's mention the 2024 SFL convention is headed to South Shore Harbor Resort in League City, Texas. That's just south of Houston on July the 12th through the 14th, featuring live games, flag football, a golf tournament, tailgate, pool party, and more. For all the convention details, visit simulationfl.net/news/convention to reserve your room and see the schedule and much, much more. Now, will Florida, they will snap it. They'll get a final playoff, and that's just a little toss, if you will. And Jacksonville, again, Martin and company doing their job. I don't foresee Florida going for it here on 4th down.
Now, this isn't one of those times where it's really wise to do so. 4th and inches, go for it, but 4th and 4.
4th quarter on the way. Florida leads 21-0. Let's read you the league rights, and we'll be right back.
The of the Simulation Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or account of the game without the express written consent of the league office is prohibited.
APM Music is unrivaled music to bring your stories to life, inspiring every production with the world's most robust and constantly refreshed music collection, state-of-the-art technology, and world-class customer service. APM Music is the official soundtrack of the Simulation Football League. So to explore their library and to find the perfect tracks for your projects, visit apmmusic.com. That punt, they're fielded at the 12-yard line, so Jacksonville will again get a chance at putting some points or at least some yards up on the board. Look at that, 336-35, Alex.
That really tells the whole tale of it, and it's not a knock on Jacksonville's defense by any means. They've been containing this Florida's offenses as best they can. They've been game to the task, but
Bruin still looking for a good play, and that right there is again off the mark, going for his intended tight end. My name's Cameron Duty. I'm with Alex West, Ron Haynes, and Damon Simeon. Thank you guys for your work in the stats truck, and Cameron Irvine doing a great job on the production end. And so here we go, 2nd and 10, and you just feel like if Jacksonville does not score here, obviously this game, you know, it hangs in the balance for at least for Florida here to win it all. That pass is intercepted. Just everything that Jacksonville did not want to see. And again, Evan Carroll extending on his league leading interceptions there.
And he's just right place, right time. He had that one route made all the way, and O.J. Bruin had no more time to let that route to let that play develop. He had no more options. He just had the choice of taking the sack or trying to fit it in a tight window and hoping his guy got it, but no chance with the veteran corner there to make the play.
1st and 10 now from the 26-yard line of Jacksonville. They keep it on the ground to Beletsky, and you know what? Again, another solid tackle there by this Jacksonville defense. They just keep fighting. I can't believe the fight that they have in them, honestly, and the energy.
And it seems like John Martin, Tigga Clay, and Young Vaught are tireless. They are all three of them swarming in every direction.
The handoff again to Beletsky. Another 3rd and 5 coming up as the clock continues to run, and you can tell that this is the method of this drive. This is what Florida wants, Alex, is to start ticking some time off the clock.
Absolutely. They've been up 3 scores. They have not really put their foot on the gas since going up 3 scores. They have not felt pressured, and they have been more than happy with where the game's been.
Now Cochran to throw. He's got plenty of time. He's got all day. Can make a sandwich if he wants to. He throws to the end zone over the head of his intended target. 4th down and a field goal attempt, we believe, coming on the way. That was intended for Ryan Bush.
Real Dagwood sandwich there, what he made. Just airmailed that one a little bit over. It's a bright idea, but just too much mustard.
Oh, I love a good pun. That was fantastic, Alex. I'll have to. Let's see. What can I come up with here? You give me some time. I'll find. Well, let me get to this field goal attempt real quick. 38-yard attempt right here by Ethan Sneed. And that field goal is good. They add 3 points, and I guess you'd say they add the mayo to the sandwich of offensive production here by the Florida Storm in this game. That's all I got, Alex. I'll come up with better later.
It's a little bit of a thin spread there, my friend. That's right. I got another one. Hey-o. That's right. I'll be here all weekend. I'll be at the SFL convention, folks. See you there.
Try the veal while you're there, folks. Alex is going to have his own booth and everything set up. Love it. Return here by Jacksonville. And that's Ellington out to the 25-yard line.
Quick legs on him. He's got wheels. It's just I would love to see him get the ball in some open space. I'd love to see them scheme maybe a little bit of a creative rub route or even just a simple little bit of crossing route. Not a screen pass. Florida's been all over the line of scrimmage. Just little 5 yards, 8 yards out, have him stick to the side, deliver the ball on time, see what he can do with his legs.
Going 1st and 10, 8:48 remaining in this ball game, and Bruin looking to run, and he will step up, and he gets thrown down like a rag doll that time by Ryan Tobin.
It's like as soon as OJ got the idea in his mind to start running, he was already being watched by Ryan Tobin there, the inside linebacker. You think he was on a QB spy with how quick he got to the line of scrimmage, but he was in pass coverage.
Ragdoll, that's a really good Aerosmith tune. Oh, the sweet emotion of the Florida Storm today as they are ahead 24-0. If you like Aerosmith, you'll find that pun as well. Jacksonville now to throw. Pressure coming end over end, incomplete. 3rd and 8.
3rd and 8 feels like it might as well be 3rd and 28. This offense has struggled, and that's just putting it mildly. 37 total yards of offense.
They are sending everybody on this 3rd down. And they're just going to let Bruin step up and run. Spin move there. He doesn't get the first. 4th and 2. Too early, and I guess not good enough field position to consider going for it here, right? I mean, you don't have any offensive production really as it is.
It's one of those moments where if they punt it, I think it's the right call. But if they went for it, I think that was the right call too. They're going to do the conservative thing and punt it. Not the wrong answer here.
That's Liam Price with the punt. Nice hang time again. He's had a good day as far as that goes. And Vandelay has gotten a lot of work out of the return position. First and 10 on the 34-yard line. And, yeah, have a day, Vandelay. You've had a good day, buddy. Go ahead and celebrate it.
Absolutely. And it feels like that big catch that he made, that 70-yard bomb to open the Florida's first drive, set the whole tone for this entire game, right? It showed that they could go deep on moments where you'd never expect them to, and it let them essentially say, we are going to establish our will.
We talked about how important this game was to Jacksonville. A loss eliminates them from playoff competition. Looks like it's headed that way after a gain of 1 there by Beletsky. But again, Cloud, the silver lining in that, Cloud, is the fact that this defense has played as well as they have.
Absolutely. This defensive unit is honestly putting up a stellar day against an offense that has had so much time of possession and so many opportunities to move the ball down the field. Florida's had the ball for over 22 minutes at this point.
That handoff again goes nowhere. Credit to Logan Gardner that time, 3rd and 11. And even after the good day that Beletsky's had, he gets up still frustrated about that. These competitors never quit.
Absolutely no. The game isn't over until it's all the way over, and he wants to fight for every yard he can get. Maybe he's just a little bit hungry for those extra yards since he's not getting as many carries, huh?
Hungry because we've been talking about sandwiches. A handoff to Beletsky and a couple of yards there, 4th and 10. I mean, they can hear us talking up here surely. I mean, you got to imagine that they get the vibes anyway.
You wonder. So a couple of moments, I was wondering if they were listening into the feed. I was going to say, check the defensive coordinators.
4th and 10 now, as they will be forced to punt. That's Marcus Agrippa again. They just need a good return here, and a nice job of Beasley to shrug some tackles and to get down to the 29-yard line. Let's take a moment, Alex, and let's look ahead here at Jacksonville. We know that the operation is folding at the end of the season, and this is an operation that's been around for quite some time. 2 games coming up. They've got Louisiana, and then they've got the Canton Classics. Obviously, your predictions, I feel like I know where you're going with this, but that Louisiana matchup could be something could be potentially a W if they play their cards right and get some offensive production here.
Well, it's their final home game, and that's something they're going to be playing for pride. They're going to be playing for the home crowd for the final time, and this is a matchup where they're more on par with the Revolution. This game against Louisiana should be a lot more competitive than when they are having to match up with one of the giants of the league right now. This is honestly a game that they were never expected to really be in. They're 14.5-point underdogs. You can see up at the top, it was always going to be a tall order for them to be in this game, much less win it. Louisiana, I think they have a real shot at, and I hope they win it, honestly, for the home crowd. One last go.
Vakarian with a nice run there, So setting up 3rd and 4. And now let's flip over to the Florida Storm. They also have the Canton Classics coming up, and what you would call maybe even the matchup of the year. That's next week, and then they play Carolina. But let's talk about that Week 13 matchup here as we watch this 3rd down play, Alex. That is possibly, we know that's looking at championship implications even, or close to it.
It really, you could say it's the closest thing that we're getting to a championship matchup in the regular season because of how both of these teams have performed throughout. What can you say outside of you got somebody's has got to go? Because we all know that Florida's going in there 10-0 at this point. It's just too far out of reach for Jacksonville. So 2 10-0s, someone's got to go, and I can't wait to see the matchup. I have a feeling that this is based on how Florida's defense has played today, that it's going to be a very low-scoring affair for both teams.
Everybody's circling that one on their calendar there as Vandelay gets up after a punt return back to the 30-yard line. Now, let's talk about Monday night. We're not going to be here tomorrow on Easter. Instead, we'll pick things back up on Monday night as Cam and Mike break down the weekend that was on the SFL this week and get you the most up-to-date playoff scenarios, followed by the 5-5 Atlanta Swarm heading down to face the Houston Headhunters, who are 5-4. a game full of postseason potential indeed. See who every team plays down the stretch on our official website as well at simulationfl.net, and that should be a good game as well coming up on Monday. A handoff here to Comisac, 2nd and 4 as the clock continues to run.
And just to circle back to that Atlanta-Houston game, that's one that I'm really thinking is going to be a bit of a firecracker. Both teams know how to put points up on the board.
A lot of good football coming down the stretch as we wrap up another regular season. Unbelievable that season 22, the regular season portion, is already quickly coming to an end, but a lot of great football left to be played in these final few weeks. Comisac going to be dragged down behind the line, and that brings up 3rd down. But let's go to Cameron Irvine with another SFL game break.
Thanks, Cameron. Here's part of how it ended in Fort Worth. Louisiana down 26-13, under 3 to go. Had an opportunity here at the end zone, but the pass off the hands of De Niro. Louisiana later scored, but couldn't recover the onside kick. Fort Worth hangs on and wins the South 26-20, despite nearly 500 yards of offense for the Louisiana. Oh, back to you in Jacks.
Thank you, Cam. And again, what can you say about this Jacksonville defense? Martin and company down by 24, but they haven't stopped. 4th and 1 again, they stop them behind the line of scrimmage.
You know, I think not to be too cynical, I think it's credit to the coaches for making sure to motivate their players to not even quit, even if the game is out of reach. Play until the final whistle. Give it everything you got, because you're not just playing for the home crowd at this point. You're also playing for your future.
And again, as we've seen a couple of times already, Florida wants to keep this ball. They want to run the clock out the rest of the way. They're going for it on 4th and 1. Does Jacksonville have one last stand in them? And that by Boletsky. It's going to be very close, to doing it as it is. That'll about put a cherry on top there. 1st and 10, 250 and counting. And you know what? Let's talk about. We talked about the football coming up, Alex, and how important the next couple of weeks are going to be. I'm going to put you on the spot, my friend, because I love doing it because I know you can. Can you give me a sleeper team that you think that we need to watch out for in this playoff push?
Oh, you want to make me put on the turban and go full Westradamus. Okay, let me get my crystal ball.
You think about it, and I'll call this play right here. 1st and 10, 2:26 and counting in this 4th quarter. They let the play clock wind down, and again, they give it to Comisac, who doesn't get anything. All right, what you got, Alex?
Well, I think it's one of those things where I've got to be just a little bit selfish and self-invested. I think Tulsa is going to be one to watch. They are on the border. They are on the brink. They did not want to have the loss this week. They did, but they took DC right up to the brink, and they were not expected to be nearly that competitive in that game if you look at the win-loss records, but that was a tight matchup, almost like what we saw here earlier tonight with Fort Worth and Louisiana. It's a tight game. Tulsa is a competitive squad that absolutely is wanting to make a postseason with a furious push.
We've reached the 2-minute warning in this game, as you will start to see them just try to run this thing out with Comisac, and they'll see them burn through the timeouts as well. Very good point indeed, Alex. So you answered that very well. I knew you could do it. We've worked well long enough. I knew that you could come up with a good answer on that one. And, hey, we'll see how it is down the line.
We'll see indeed. Also, just to, you mentioned earlier, it's hard to believe the season's almost over. It feels like just the other week I was calling my very first game with you, and here we are.
Yeah, exactly. Here we are, and what a fun ride it's been, and hopefully we'll get a chance to call a couple more. I always enjoy our calls together, as, again, we see another timeout taken here as this game, this offensive onslaught by Florida at the moment continuing to roll up to this point. Now they will just go ahead and punt it away. And at this point, the goal for Jacksonville, just trying to get some points on the board. As you mentioned, you don't want to be shut out at home in your second to last game here either.
No, you don't. This is about to sound really cynical and jaded and harsh, but I've got to be honest. It's a little bit stomach churning what I've seen as far as offensively from Jacksonville tonight. They have barely managed to move the ball across the line of scrimmage tonight. They have a total of 40 passing yards.
Yeah, just a tough night in that department for sure. If they cannot get any points on the board, that'll be the second straight week, as Jacksonville was not able to put any points up against Seattle last week as well, and they lost that game 6-0. Pressure coming, Bruin. The pass is tipped. Scary as it was close to being intercepted there, but nevertheless it falls to the ground. Second down coming up.
And that's Ryan Tobin on the deflection there, inside linebacker that knows how to play coverage zone, knows how to play man, knows how to push up the line when he has to assist with some tackles. He can be anywhere you don't want him to show up.
And speaking of shutouts, if Florida can keep Jacksonville out of the end zone, that will be the second straight week that they have been able to accomplish such a feat, as they also did that up in Denver, down in Florida when Denver came to play them last week. One-handed grab right there to the wide receiver. They will call a timeout, Connor Weston, but you know what? That's the nice hands catch, and I'm going to call it that. Brought to you by Retroid. Put a Retroid handheld in your hands and play the only video game with your player in it, SFL 4K23. Listen, I love a good one-handed reception.
You know what? I'll allow it. It's a one-handed reception. It goes for a first down. And with how hard these Storm secondary players have been hitting these receivers tonight, they have been absolutely pasting them all over the turf. Credit goes to them. Look at them go.
And look at this. Another offensive effort there by Kingston Ellington. If that other was a nice hands catch, I got to give this one a runner-up for Jacksonville here anyway. Finally, a couple of nice offensive passes going their way.
Some momentum building, and the home crowd happy to see just some offensive production from this squad and wanting to see points on the board. I do too. Just a field goal or a touchdown especially would be a huge moral victory.
Ball out at midfield here as Bruin will throw. The pass complete. No, knocked out at the very last minute. That was intended for Ellington, but Ryan Tobin made the hit.
Just one of those that you don't even see the defender in frame as the ball is arriving in the receiver's hands. It doesn't happen until those last couple of moments that he hasn't even turned his head. Thud.
Second and 10, a minute 25 left in this football game. Bruin again to throw. He completes that one over the middle. That's a route we haven't seen a whole lot of in this game, honestly, from them, and that was Connor Weston with another reception. Now Bruin again to throw off the mark, and that brings up a 4th and 1. You expect them to probably go for it here.
For sure. There's no reason to not go for it at this point. You're not really within field goal range. There's no point in punting. Just try and pick up the first down. What's the worst that could happen?
Again, here playing for points and for pride. And an interesting stat to come across, and we'll mention it after this play. Thanks to Cameron Irvine helping us out, pointing out this stat. That pass is intercepted, and going the other way, Evan Carroll, as we said, the leading INT man. And look at him hurtling, running to the 30, to the 20, to the 15, the 10, the 5, into the end zone for the touchdown. And what turned into an interception turned into a pick 6 after a lot of athleticism by Evan Carroll.
This was already more than just a beating. This was already a route. Now, just this pick 6 feels like lemon juice in the eyes. This is just completely unnecessary. But, oh, my goodness, Campbell wanted it, and he gets it.
He gets it indeed, and as we said, that will seal the deal. Florida getting ready to go up after this extra point by 31 points. That is a 71-yard pick 6. Incredible by Evan Carroll, as we mentioned, as that extra point is indeed good. That is his first pick 6 of the season, and a great job by Evan there indeed, in this whole Florida defense, just how they have done tonight. Now, an interesting point right here that we want to mention. The first time that Jacksonville was ever shut out was last week when they played Seattle and lost 6-0. So they could go 2 straight weeks of not only being shut out, but it would be the only 2 times in the franchise's history that will have happened. They still have 55 seconds to try to make amends there as far as that goes and try to get some points on the board. And that's the entire goal of this last minute or so.
That is the goal, but it feels a little bit futile at that point. One of their better shots where they were moving the ball down the field, just got snatched away. I keep going back and thinking to myself, that was 71 yards. If I'm Evan Carroll, I'm going over straight to Art Vandelay on the sideline and going, hey, how do you feel about having the second longest catch today?
For Evan Carroll, that was also his 9th pick 6 of his career. That's 3rd all time.
It feels like you just don't even need to throw to that side of the field, right? It's just too dangerous.
Dangerous indeed. So here we go, 52 seconds left. That pass incomplete. Bruin again with another attempt. And as we count down the final seconds here of this game, we want to remind you, of course, there will be no SFL action tomorrow. We hope that everyone will have a happy Easter, a happy Sunday indeed, wherever you may be watching from. Bruin to throw. The pass is complete. Ellington getting, I guess you would say, hot, if you will, at the end of this game. That's the best that he has looked thus far. Bruin now with a couple of receptions, finally in his stat sheet. 2nd and 10, snaps the ball and spikes it.
And it's just been a tough row to hoe, but these receivers have been game to run route after route after route. Not all the time has the ball been on time. Not all the time has the ball been where they can catch it, but they have been there to run every single time. It's 31 attempts for O.J. Bruin, and they have been out there time and again.
Bruin again to throw, and there's a completion to Jim Copeland Jr. So the clock continuing to run. Jacksonville has no timeouts, but they keep fighting. They snap the ball. 2nd and 10 here on the way. Alex, taking a look, as we mentioned, the next 27 seconds or so, and, you're Jacksonville. You don't want to come out of here again with a zilch on the scoreboard. Who do you need to look for here? You got to go to the air. Who are you looking for if you're QB here?
I can't look for one man. You've got to be looking for routes, and you've got to be looking for who can actually get some separation because the defense is scheming deep. You're looking for whoever's cutting medium deep underneath. Not the deepest route, but the medium depth route.
Pass is incomplete. 3rd and 10 on the way. I must say, though, I think that our pun game was really, really good tonight. I mean, I got to say, Rochelle loves to talk about puns, and I like to do those. Between the two of us, she really is going to get her fill of puns with us around in the booth. What do you say?
Well, what you're telling me is that when I call a game with Rochelle, Cameron Irvine is going to tell me I'm never allowed to call a game with her again because we just wouldn't stop the punishment on the audience.
Oh, my goodness. How punny. Indeed, the punishment. It is it's great. I think you may be even the king of puns as much I like puns. I can't come up with them as well as you can. What's funny is the fact that we literally have 21 seconds left in this game. It's 4th and 10, and we probably will not see a punt at the end of this one.
No, we will not.
I've done
we will
it.
See a conversion or a kneel down.
That's all right. Call me corny Cam. That's okay. 1st and 10 now coming up, and that will do it. We've got to have a little bit of fun, and that's what the SFL is all about, having some fun, watching some good football, and, of course, as we said, getting to have a couple of laughs. A great release for all of us.
Absolutely. And hey, man, I've seen O.J. Bruin try to force some passes here and here a little bit harder than you tried to force that joke. It's okay. It's okay. That one still landed.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Hey, at least I can say I had a successful night every now and then. We'll put it that way. I had 1 or 2. 50-50. Let's put it that way. The final kneel down, folks, and that's going to bringing in to this ball game as we're under 10 seconds. Florida will win 31-0. Continuing, they will go to 10-0. We talked about at the top of the hour, at the top of the game here, that Florida wanting to go undefeated this entire season. They've got a big matchup next week, but so far that undefeated streak stays intact. Give me your final thoughts, Alex.
Well, really, we got what we thought we were going to get. Florida really took Jacksonville outside in the woodshed and just took them for all they had. It was not pretty. It was one-sided. It was the better team coming in here and dominating from bell to bell. And honestly, it's a real highlight to say this defensive unit completely blanking Jacksonville, holding them to a handful of yards. Throughout the first half, I don't think that we saw more than 100 yards of total offense until we reached the fourth quarter from Jacksonville. It was an absolute demolishing. And I think my player of the game, I don't know who yours is, but mine is Evan Carroll for the defense. 2 interceptions, 1 for a pick six, 3 pass deflections, and a tackle assist. He was a nightmare for O.J. Bruin and the receivers tonight.
I would agree as well. Hey, Alex, thank you so much. Once again, let me say thanks to Ron Haynes and Damon Simeon and the Sats truck, Cameron Irvine on the production end of things. For my partner, Alex West, my name is Cameron Duty. We're wishing you a happy rest of your weekend, a happy Easter tomorrow. We'll see you back here on Monday with the SFL wrap-up, of course, and the game soon to follow. Florida beats Jacksonville 31-0. We'll see you next time. Take care.